Welcome back to our sequence on the engineering design cycle. In this session, we'll start the discussion of how to present the solution to external stakeholders in our design: managers, potential customers, peers, marketing experts, and so on. Our goal is to inspire those external stakeholders to believe in our design. And the best way to inspire, compel, and appeal is to tell a story. Even in engineering, storytelling can work to draw an audience into the importance and imminent need for a design, our design. We are one step short at this point of completing the design cycle. As we finish, we may enter into another cycle of redesign, turn the design over to someone else, or leave the design behind in a box marked dismal failures. Our goal, of course, is to avoid the last situation in favor of the former two. But no matter how good the design and how successful the design cycle has been for us, it will take some convincing for our audience to become as inspired as we are about our design. And it has now become our job to inspire them. Few techniques work so well as storytelling to draw in an audience to our point of view. Even in engineering, story is more than appropriate. Even though our engineering design is nowhere near a piece of fiction, it is a tangible piece of reality that modern science has proven will be best conveyed, just like fiction, via a good story. As human beings, we want connections, patterns, and alliances. In other words, we want stories. So rather than leaving our audience dazed with reasonable, rational, fact-packed PowerPoint, let's take a look at what storytelling in PowerPoint for the purposes of presenting a solution to our design problem looks like. There are three basic acts to a story. Act 1 and Act 3 appeal to emotion, and Act 2 provides the facts behind the problem and the solution. Act 1 serves to set the stage and explain the context of the story. Act 2 develops the action by appealing to reason, and Act 3 wraps it up by appealing to emotion and presenting the design as the best resolution to the need for a solution to a design problem. The combination of emotion and reason in the story, as well as the connections and alliances developed in this kind of format, leave the audience with a lasting understanding of why the design problem is important and why our chosen solution is the one to support and applaud. Let's start our story at the beginning, in Act 1. Throughout this series of slides, we will be using an example of an engineering story situated around the emergence of BiCMOS electronic circuit technology, which emerged as a hybrid of two different types of technologies: bipolar junction transistor, or BJT, and complementary metal oxide semiconductor, or MOS technologies, to enable circuit designers to take advantage of the strengths of both types of circuits by combining them into one hybrid technology. The goal of the first three scenes of Act 1 is to establish who the main players are and why there is a story to tell in the first place. In this spirit, Scene 1 creates the setting. Where are we? What time is it? For our BiCMOS story example, the setting is the 1980s in the United States, and CMOS technology is rapidly overtaking BJT technology in the semiconductor industry. With the setting in place, Scene 2 sets up our main character. In our example, the main character or protagonist is BJT technology. Facing tough competition from CMOS, it faces certain extinction. And if we could make BJTs as cute as panda bears, our audience most certainly will come to the side and aid of the poor, rejected BJT. Now that our BJT technology has appeared on the scene as the protagonist, Scene 3 creates an imbalance, and the reason for telling the story. The imbalance here is fairly obvious. BJT technology is at risk of extinction, and the story begins to save it from such a dire fate. Having created an imbalance as a storyteller, we are now obligated to divulge how to restore balance. In our example, the obvious return to balance will involve rescuing BJT technology from almost certain extinction and restoring it to a respected place in the circuit design and semiconductor fabrication universe. But how will such a balance be achieved? Scene 5 of the first act in our story will give a sneak preview of the solution. In our example, we will artfully combine BJT and CMOS into a single technology that takes advantage of the benefits of each, and in so doing, BJTs will return to popularity and life will become happy and good. Having now used some drama to stimulate the emotions of our audience, we are now ready to launch into the fact-filled adventure of our story that is Act 2. In Act 1, we presented a solution, drew our audience into the solution, but now in Act 2, our job is to back up our story and its happy ending with facts, facts, and more facts. That's not to say our facts won't be organized. Depending on how much time we have to present, we may only explain the major points of our solution. For longer presentations, we will make time to provide supporting points behind these major points. In our BiCMOS story, for example, we have 3 major points. The first 2 points identify the distinct advantages of BJT technology, faster and stronger, and then the third major point we clearly set up as the turning point, that some applications need speed and strength, and CMOS can't cut it in these areas. That is where we drop back to the punchline, that there is no need to give up CMOS to get these advantages back, but instead we can combine BJT with CMOS technology to satisfy the needs of these applications, and therein lies our happy ending. However, no good story can end on facts. For most people, reason does not linger, but story does. Thus, after Act 2 in presenting our solution, we enter Act 3, going back to emotion once again, tying everything together, making connections, and leaving the audience with the feelings that a crisis has been resolved, and by our design team, no less. In the first scene of this last act in our story, we will create a boiling point. As CMOS continues to get smaller and expand across the circuits community, BJTs, like the panda bear, are at a woeful and serious risk. In the second scene, we will remind our audience of the solution. Combining BJT and CMOS will create a new hybrid technology that will save the BJT from obscurity. In the third scene of Act 3, we will pull all of our points together, stating the advantages of both BJT and CMOS technology, and in Act 4 we will resolve the whole problem and end the story with a happy ending, by providing a general conclusion regarding BiCMOS technology, a hybrid design that has saved the day for our bipolar junction transistors. If we have done it right, our audience will now breathe a sigh of relief. We have taken them on adventure, set them up for potential trouble, and then dropped the solution right into their laps. Our design is the solution, in this case BiCMOS technology, and with it there can be a happy ending to the problem, the imbalance, the crisis we have so carefully crafted in PowerPoint for our audience. While many a PowerPoint has been designed as a collection of facts and bullets, when it comes to a presentation as important as a design review, it is time to bring the story onto the stage. Crafting an emotional context around the facts of our design in such a way that we reach our particular audience and convince them that the solution we bring to the table is the best choice and truly merits moving forward. Thank you for joining us today as we consider the value of story during presenting the solution of our engineering design journey to our audiences, both big and small. We certainly hope that this session has been helpful in creating a more engaging and inspiring presentation to those outside your design team, and that you'll join us again as we take a detailed look at other phases of the design cycle.